Hey everyone, and welcome to this EasyPathUni Explainer, which we've produced in coordination with Yazan. Today we are diving deep into 4.1, In-Depth Analysis of Audit Findings. Now, we're going to keep this super simple and interactive, with plenty of real-world examples so everything just clicks. Look, the whole point here isn't just about finding problems. It's about turning those findings into smart, strategic improvements that actually make a real, lasting difference. So, let's get right into it.
So, let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a meeting, staring at an audit report, and you get that weird feeling of déjà vu? You're thinking, hold on a second. Didn't we deal with this exact same thing last year? It's so frustrating, right? This endless cycle of problems that you think you fixed, but they just keep coming back. Well, what if I told you there's a way to break that cycle for good? It all comes down to this number right here, 60%. Yeah, that's right. Studies show that when you do a really thorough, in-depth analysis of your audit findings, you can cut down on them reoccurring by a massive 60%. That's not just a small tweak. That's a total game changer.
So, how in the world do we get there? Well, it all starts with changing how we look at the problem. Instead of seeing an audit finding as, a failure or someone messing up, we need to start thinking of it as the very first clue in an investigation. We're putting on our detective hats.
And of course, every good detective needs to know what they're looking for. The official ISO standard defines an audit finding as just the results of the evaluation of the collected audit evidence against audit criteria. So it's not about opinions or feelings. Think of this as case file 0. It's our starting point, and it's always based on hard evidence. And here's something really important to remember. Not all clues are pointing to something bad. Sure, a nonconformity means a requirement wasn't met, but a finding can also be conformity, which is awesome. It's proof that things are working exactly as they should. Or it could be an opportunity for improvement. Or my personal favorite, a good practice, where you find something so brilliant that you just have to share it with the whole organization. Okay, so we've found our first clue. Now the real detective work starts. It's time to grab our shovels, metaphorically speaking, and start digging for the root cause. This is the moment we stop asking what happened and start asking the most powerful question of all. Why did it happen? And our number one tool for this job is root cause analysis, or RCA. Now, RCA isn't about slapping a bandage on the problem. It's a disciplined way of thinking that helps us find the fundamental, deep-down reasons things are going wrong, so we can fix them once and for all. One of the most elegant and powerful tools for RCA is a technique called the 5 whys. It's so simple, it's brilliant. You just start with the problem you see on the surface, and you just keep asking why over and over, making sure you have evidence for each answer until you can't go any deeper. You've hit the core. Let me show you how it works. So let's say we have a problem. Packages are failing our quality inspection. Okay, let's ask our first question. Why? Well, because the seals aren't holding up. Okay, simple enough. But we don't stop there. We ask again, why are the seals failing? It turns out the sealing machine is applying uneven pressure. We're getting warmer, but we keep digging. Why is the pressure uneven? Because the machine's calibration has drifted out of spec. Now we're talking. See what just happened? We went from a purely mechanical issue to a process failure. This is bigger than just one machine. So we have to ask again, why wasn't the schedule followed? And boom, there it is, the root cause. It wasn't really a faulty machine at all. It was an organizational breakdown in training and planning. A tiny flaw in a package seal just exposed a massive systemic risk. That is the incredible power of the 5 whys. Now, the 5 whys is fantastic for those kinds of straightforward linear problems. But what happens when a problem is way more complex, with lots of different things potentially going wrong at once? For that, we pull out another classic tool, the fishbone diagram. You might also hear this called an Ishikawa diagram. It just gives us a really structured way to brainstorm all the possible things that could be contributing to the problem. In manufacturing, for example, a really common framework is the 6 M's: man, machine, method, and so on. It forces you to look at the problem from every single angle so you don't miss anything. Finding the root cause is a huge win, but hold on, we're not done yet. The investigation is over, but now we have to actually do something about it. We need to turn that analysis into real, meaningful action. That means figuring out how serious the problem is and then building a bulletproof plan to fix it permanently. You see, not all problems are created equal.
So we classify them. A critical finding, that's a 5-alarm fire, an immediate threat, like a safety system that's offline. A major one is serious. It could bring down an entire system. And then a minor finding is more of an isolated slip-up, like a single piece of incomplete paperwork. How we classify it tells us how fast we need to move. And does all this structure and process really matter? Well, the proof is right here. Organizations that use this kind of systematic analysis see a 40% higher rate of sustainable improvement. That's the keyword, sustainable. They're not just putting out fires anymore, they're actually building a stronger, more fireproof organization. Now, how you write the solution is absolutely crucial. Just saying we need to be better is useless. Your recommendations have to be smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. This is the framework that turns a good idea into a concrete, executable plan that actually gets things done. And this really gets to the very heart of why we do all this. When you analyze findings this way, you're not just the person who points out what's wrong anymore. As the source material so perfectly puts it, you transform raw observations into strategic insights that drive organizational excellence. You become a strategic partner. So I want to leave you with one final question to think about. I want you to take a really honest look at how your own organization handles this. Is your audit process just finding symptoms, stuck on that hamster wheel of fixing the same things over and over? Or is it truly digging deep, finding those root causes, and driving real, permanent change?